clear to me that you intended to clean house of the professional scientist at the National Institutes of Health, which you know is headquartered in the state of Maryland, and employs thousands of hardworking Marylanders. I, for the record, believe in scientists and I believe in doctors, and I trust them over politicians without medical degrees. You talked about bad science and bad scientists, and in fact, you specifically said to me in response to my question that you intend to replace the bad scientist with the good scientist. And so I want to ask you, in your opinion, what makes a scientist or a doctor qualified to serve at the National Institutes of Health?
A scientist who's devoted to empirical methodology, to evidence-based science, scientists who understand the importance of replication, the importance of publishing raw data and being open and transparent about it, the importance of publishing peer review. We have NIH has overseen over the past several years the precipitous decline in American health. There's 91,000 people at HHS. And are you suggesting that some of them should not be held responsible for that decline? They were in charge of protecting our health.
Let me just.
Right. So it's no secret that right now in the U.S. we're some of the sickest, fattest, loneliest, depressed, porn addicted, sadistic, narcissistic, individualist the world has going at this point, which is really quite the concoction. And you can even throw a few more things in there. At the end of the day, though, it's fair to say that we can all look and see that we're trending in the wrong direction. And while that may be fine and fair for some who want to make their choices, at the same time, we're heading in a dangerous place as a society. And then not only that, because of the global influence of the U.S., its companies, its media machines, it reaches to the rest of the world. You know, now for corporations that are profiting off of this, I'm sure they're having a great time. But I tend to agree with RFK Jr. on this. Something's not right.
Just insert here.
Let me just finish.
But let me just say this, because I only have 3 minutes left. I don't set the rules here, but I ask the questions. And the question is really whether you intend, as you said, to substitute essentially your judgment for the judgment of these professional scientists and doctors.
I'm not going to substitute my judgment for science. Of course, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do, listen, the New York Times just did an article last week talking about the fraud, the 20-year fraud, 800 fraudulent studies produced by NIH on amyloid plaques, and not allowing any other hypothesis about the cause of Alzheimer's.
Well, how
to be
will you
explored.
decide, Mr. Kennedy, which scientists
The ones
are
who
bad scientists? Are they the ones who disagree with you?
The ones who are corrupt, the ones who have been doing science like the amyloid plaque studies that were fraudulent.
Well,
we
these
should
doctors,
not.
let me ask you a question. Do you have a medical degree?
No.
Do I know?
Okay, let me go to the next question.
And you know what? Listen, I got to say it because this is something that people do, particularly here in the West or in the U.S. I've seen it in other places as well. I'm not sure. You tell me where you're at. But that when they want to undermine what you're saying, they try to say, "Oh, well, do you have a law degree? Oh, well, do you have a medical degree? Oh, well, do you have a food science degree? What's next? You can say you have a parenting degree." This lady seems to me she doesn't know who she is. She's regurgitating talking points that she seems to have memorized and embodied and imbued, and she seems to be confused.
Watch list of federal employees to go after federal staff. Is there a watch list for federal staff at HHS?
Not that I know of.
Have you or has anyone in the administration developed a list of career scientists or federal staff that you would target for termination?
Not that I know of.
Should be.
And let me just ask you another question. Now, your failed presidential campaign has been raising money to try and cover your debts. And you were questioned about this yesterday and failed to answer a question that Senator Warren asked you. And so I want to ask you again regarding these emails that you have sent to raise money How much has your presidential campaign made fundraising off of this administration's complete disregard for the workforce at HHS?
Excuse me? I didn't hear the question. The last part.
How much money has your presidential campaign made off of fundraising, off of this administration's complete disregard for the workforce at HHS?
Zero.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record 2 emails from this week and the week before regarding fundraising that you are currently doing through your presidential campaign.
Without objection.
And finally, I want to ask you, I have you said you were on a show on February 26, 2021, an interview with Dr. Judy Mikovits, where you said the following, and I quote, "We should not be giving Black people the same vaccine schedule that's given to whites because
Here
their
they go.
immune system is better than ours."
Here they go.
Can you please explain what you meant?
There's a series of studies, I think most of them by Poland, that show that to particular antigens that Blacks have a much stronger reaction. There's differences in reaction to different products by different races.
So I have 17 seconds left. Let me just ask you then. So what different vaccine schedule would you say I should have received? What different vaccine schedule should I have received?
I mean, the Poland article suggests that Blacks need fewer antigens than
this is
so
so
you get the
dangerous.
same measles vaccine.
Mr. Kennedy, with all due respect, that is so dangerous. Your voice would be a voice that parents would listen to. That is so dangerous.
I mean, see, you know, the reason why she's saying it's dangerous, she can't live her own life, right? She wants to constantly be meshed in with everyone else in the community, primarily being white, forgetting that you are Black, forgetting that there are some differences amongst people. There are different genetic codes as far as how you react, you know, levels of bone density, who can handle processed food more so than others. I mean, if you look at Native America right now, they're catching hell as far as diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, and they're just dying left and right, just dropping like flies. And I can assure you that their situation and what they're dealing with medically is not the same as a middle-aged white guy. Why that's so hard to understand, why that's controversial, I don't know. Now, in this day and age where everything's so sanitized and PC, you can't say something like that. This guy's actually a good hire, and he's good for the U.S. and in my view, good for the globe as a second, as good for the U.S. but also good for the globe. It's just, and then they're coming along asking about campaign funds and this and that. My thing is, lady, and for the rest of the senators that are giving this guy a hard time, where were you, right, when all of this sickness and decline in health was upticking? Where was all your fervor, right, and your desire and passion for the American public and what's best for it? Where was all that then? Right? It was non-existent. Now, I can appreciate RFK Jr. saying what he said. It doesn't surprise me that there are some differences in people internally. To say that an Arab, middle-aged Arab guy, white guy, Asian guy, Native guy, Black guy don't necessarily respond the same as far as antigens to vaccines and other things. You're saying it's dangerous because the United States doesn't really want to deal with these differences. It's just easier to deal with one people, right? To kind of acknowledge and accept these things is tough. You know, it's a level of tough that we haven't really had to address fully, and in all reality, haven't really addressed in some time. Letting the illegals fly off the handle over the wall and financing that has nothing to do with addressing our issues locally in the society of the United States. And apparently that hasn't been an interest. But I do like RFK Jr. I think he'd be great. Hopefully he can get confirmed. They can stop joking around like they really give a damn when we know that they don't. Only thing they care about is big pharma lining their pockets. So we'll see how this one goes.